It's finally Friday. And you guys know what that means. I'm on Facebook. And for any of you who did your hashtag KatieFAQ, or at the top of the message that you sent me, it said, hey Katie, FAQ, or Katie, this is my question, or whatever. I found them. I'm going to answer 5 of your questions today. So I'm going to get cracking because I don't want it to be like 20 minutes long and then you guys are like, Katie, this is terrible. Oh my God. But if you hear little tritty trotty nails, that's because I'm dog sitting. Can you see her? You see her? Oh, that way. There she is. Say hi, Salona. Say hi. She's like, I'm shy. I only bark when I think that there are birds outside, okay? So anyway, and we're going to go for a walk. That's why I'm in my outdoor gear so I can maybe get some suntan action. Okay, so, oh, and stay tuned till the end because I had a great suggestion from one of my followers on Facebook, and she messaged me saying, hey Katie, I think it'd be a great idea if at the end of every video for your Q&As you gave us a journal topic. That way I have something to journal about and it focuses, you know, something positive and it gets me thinking, and she really likes that kind of thing, and I think it's an amazing idea. So stay tuned till the end for your journal topic of the day. And let me know, give it a like if you like that idea and if you want me to do more. I have tons of journal topics. I'm sure many of you, if any of you have ever been in therapy, you know that we always give you different things. And I have this big book, like 100 and something journal topics, so I've got plenty. Okay, so without further ado, question number 1. What would you do, me, what would I do if I have a son or daughter who had an eating disorder? I'd get them help. The first thing I'd do is get them into therapy. And I'd probably get them into, first I'd let them see their primary care physician, then I'd get them a therapist and a dietitian, and I would take them every week and we would just make it work. If that wasn't enough, we'd consider higher levels of care, but I'd probably do the most to make sure I'm listening to my child, but also not pushing, because the last thing I want to do was be so pushy that they feel like they can't tell me anything, and they'll feel bad if they slip up. And you know, I'd also probably want to do some family therapy so that we would have a safe place. So if they want to tell me something that's hard to tell me, then they would have a place to do that. But that was a really good question. It's silly, but I had never thought about that. So there's my answer. Now, question number 2. And this is a good one, and I have a lot of experience with this, dealing with roommates. And the question really was around how do I approach them about being loud late at night, or not taking care of my stuff, or not respecting my space. And this is something that I used to struggle with because I don't really like conflict, and some people, you never know how they're going to respond, and so you want to come across nice enough that they don't fight you, but you still want to get your point across. It's just really hard, right? So the way that I usually do it is when we're watching TV or we're not doing anything, we're not in a hurry, or it's not in the moment when I'm really frustrated, like when they just broke that item of mine, or they have somebody staying at the house and they didn't ask me if I could, or whatever. That's when I would bring it up with my roommates, and I'd always say something like, I'm just going to make up a name. Hey, Olivia, because I've never had an Olivia roommate. Hey, Olivia, there's something I want to talk to you about, and I think the way we phrase it is really important. So the way that I phrase it about this particular instance where she's saying they're being really loud at night, and she's worried about school and them keeping her up and not being able to study or whatever. And I would say, do you mind if we try to keep it down like after 11? Pick a time that's good for you. For me, it'd be like 11, because 10 is probably when I'm maybe going to bed. And I'd just say, do you mind keeping it down a little bit? Because I've just been having a hard time sleeping, and last night it really kept me up. That's not that mean, right? We're not really being rude. We're not attacking her. We're just telling her how we felt and what happened and what our struggle was because of it, and then what we need. And then hopefully, because we've been honest, we've been clear, we haven't been like, you're such a jerk, you kept me up, and that they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. That's probably the response you get. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. We'll make sure to keep it down, or, you know, you let us know if it's too loud next time, or whatever your agreement is. And I would leave the conversation by saying, is there a way if you get too loud that you'd like me to let you know? I'd even say, you know, I don't want to fight about it. I really like living with you and I really enjoy your company and that sort of thing. And then leave with an agreement so that next time if something does happen, you have a protocol or a way that you're going to talk about it. Wow, it is noisy. There's a truck going on outside. I have all the windows open because it is really hot in Los Angeles today. Okay, next question. Number 3. Is stress eating considered an eating disorder? Now, this is a great question, and the simple short answer is no. And the reason being is that stress eating usually happens for a short period of time, and it stops. And there's no real reason behind it except for the stress of a test, or maybe someone passed away in our life, or we're going through a breakup or a divorce, or any kind of thing. We're moving, whatever the major stressor is, and when that stressor goes away, we don't end up eating too much or not eating or whatever the issue is associated with it. But it can turn into an eating disorder if it doesn't go away, and if our life stress that's constant, we all have some level of stress, right, is enough to prompt us to either binge or restrict or whatever it is, at that point, then it would have turned into an eating disorder. Okay, that makes sense? And you can check out my other videos, my older videos where I'm really awkward, standing all awkward, about anorexia, bulimia, and what all of those are, and what the diagnostic criteria is. So you can search on my channel for those. Now, number 4 is, if you are in a healthy weight range, can you still have an eating disorder? Yes, you can, and many of you do. Most of my clients, about half of my clients are in a healthy weight range and still have an eating disorder. Some are overweight and still have an eating disorder, and some are underweight and have an eating disorder. Eating disorders come in all shapes and sizes, genders, everything. It doesn't discriminate. And so, yeah, I know that your eating disorder tells you you're not sick because you're not thin enough or whatever. It's all lies. You can definitely have an eating disorder. And the final question, number 5. What are some of the ways that you can specialize in eating disorders? And I hear this a lot because a lot of people want to know how I came to be what I am, I guess. And it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to be a therapist, then you just go through all the protocol and all of the schooling to become a therapist. You don't have to specialize yet. There's nothing you can do in school to specialize in eating disorders. Once you're in graduate school and you start to take an internship, or what at the time I think you call, oh geez, I'm going to forget, but it's not even internship because you're not even an intern yet. It's like practicum. That's what we call it. Your practicum courses. And when you get into that, that's when you can decide where you want to work. Now, that being said, sometimes we don't have an option to work in an eating disorder clinic, and they don't take people who aren't licensed or even licensed interns. But that's where you can start to do it. And then the more research you do, you can actually become an accredited eating disorder specialist. I think it's like a CSC or you can Google that though, but you can do that sort of thing too, where your CEUs, your continuing education units that we have to have every year to continue keeping our license, can be focused on eating disorders. But I would caution all of you, if you're wanting to become an eating disorder therapist or an eating disorder dietitian, that you don't only do training in eating disorders, because working in a hospital and seeing schizophrenia in real life and seeing bipolar disorder in real life and seeing people decompensate and end up in the hospital and meeting them in the ER and all of that is invaluable to you as a therapist and to how you can treat clients in general, because like we know, and like I always talk about in my videos, is everybody's different, and people can have an eating disorder. They can also be schizophrenic or schizoaffective or bipolar or borderline, and we need to have experience in all of those realms. So what I would urge you to do is know what you want to do. You want to specialize. That's great that you already know that. And then take your internships and your practicums as a chance for you to learn more about psychology as a whole and get a feel for it all, because at that point, then we actually know what we want to specialize in, and we'll have a vaster body of knowledge that we're pulling from as we treat our patients, okay? Now, the journal topic, oh, people are outside, it's kind of awkward. The journal topic of the day. What is one thing that you've always wanted to do but haven't, and what is stopping you from doing it right now? And I think that this is kind of great, and I'm actually excited to do it myself because it's fun to think about those things you want to do. And I'm sure, I mean, I have a list of like a gazillion things I want to do, places I want to travel to, people I'd love to meet, goals I have for healthy mind, healthy body, right? There's tons of things that we want to do. So spend some time thinking about the things that you want to do and thinking about what we can do to make it happen, okay? Have a wonderful weekend. It's finally Friday. So I am filming today and tomorrow. And I know what you guys want. Your videos are coming. Don't you fret, okay? I remember. I write them down. And my video will be coming out on Monday. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Bye!